Hi guys, this is Matt with How to Buy a Car. This is lesson 8, the pre-owned checklist. So there is no new car checklist. This is a special checklist or a special series of things you want to go over if you decide to purchase a new car, pre-owned car, guys. So I threw this in here just as a little extra, just in case you're buying a pre-owned car. I know a lot of this course pertains to leasing because that's one of the most stressful times of buying a car is leasing because it can be getting so confusing. However, I didn't want to ignore the fact that a lot of people are out there buying pre-owned. So let's just jump right in. So first thing we're gonna do, guys, is you're gonna want to have a third-party mechanic check over the car, guys. All right. So make sure you review the car with the mechanic thoroughly, okay? And most dealerships will not have an issue with having the salesperson bring the car to a mechanic shop as long as you guys have already negotiated your deal. So this checklist is going to be for after you kind of decided to get the car, and it's kind of going to be the last thing you're going to want to do. But again, make sure you have reviewed your Carfax completely. So guys, most dealerships online now have on their websites Carfaxes for you available just by a click of a button. So whenever you're interested in a pre-owned car, always make sure you get the Carfax. If it's not on the website, call the dealership. They will email one over to you. It is not a hard thing to get a hold of. The Carfaxes, especially on pre-owned cars that are more than 3 years old, they are pretty extensive. They are going to have every single time that car went to a shop, a dealership, anywhere where it got scanned and put into a system. So super important. And a dealership, guys, again, they're trained to, they know what a Carfax is, they know the in and out of how it breaks down information. So one thing I would do when I was at a dealership, if you came into the dealership physically and saw me, I would have a Carfax before you even sat down at my desk ready for you. And I kind of wanted to diffuse the Carfax question ahead of time. And a lot of times by doing this, as long as the Carfax didn't have any accidents and no airbag deployments, most people kind of just tucked it away into their pocket or their purse or wherever it was and didn't think about it again. And I found this as a super useful tool because guess what? On that Carfax, the oil changes were at terrible intervals. They were at 11,000 miles each. So you didn't look that over because it said no accidents, no damages. You said, wow, it's a good Carfax. Look the Carfax over completely and in detail. And again, this goes with all my rules of sleep on it, take your time, don't rush yourself. All right. When you go and you take a test drive on a car, if you've spoken to a dealership, if you guys come to a fair agreement on a number and you're going to go down and take a test drive in the car, make sure you take it on local roads and on highways. Okay, this is not a new car that you need to see if you like the way it handles. This is a pre-owned car that might be amazing at 30 miles an hour, but is terrible and scary at 65 for some reason. So this is going to require a longer test drive, guys, and tell the salesperson that, hey, listen, before I come to the dealership and drive this car, please make sure it has gas in it because I do want to get on the highway and I do want to try it out. Okay. See the car in daylight. Okay, super simple, super important, guys. People would come to my dealership and they would literally look at the cars at night or under a light. I would pull it into one of our garages and I put the light on for them and they could look at the car and it was very well lit in there. But daylight is going to show every single dent, scratch, everything. And it's much better to look at the car in daylight. Also, try to make sure it's clean. Okay, I would leave cars dirty if they had scratches on them on purpose, and I would tell customers, hey, we're gonna detail it for you before you leave with it, which is the truth, but I didn't show you that it had that 2-inch scratch on the bumper. All right, so look at it in the daylight, make sure it's clean, and just get a really good look. Take your time, guys. Do not feel rushed when you're looking over the car. All right. Um, all right, guys, have them give you the tire and brake pad measurements, okay, for this pre-owned car. Okay, ask them for it, guys. These are really important and they're a super simple scale, okay? You guys can look this up on Google just to make sure that hasn't changed, but most tires are scaled on a 1 to 10 and brake pads are a 1 to 12. So, and depending on what state you're in, there are certain requirements of minimums for the state that a dealership can sell these at. So make sure you get measurements. And if they're on the low side of the scale, guys, address it with the dealer. Hey, listen, these are going to need to be changed. This is a question not a lot of people are going to ask, but it's a really good one. And this is a reason you'll have the mechanic do the check over, because these are things that a third party mechanic is going to look at, and he has no reason not to tell you, hey, these brake pads and these tires might be okay, but they're going to need to be changed in a month or two. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's a lot of money after I just bought a car to have to put into. Super important, guys. All right, so if this is not something you're willing to do, if you don't want to do it for whatever reason, or you trust the dealership that you know and you're buying from, at least you should do some homework and get the tire and brake pad measurements and just make sure that they're on the up and up and everything looks like it's going to last you for a little while. All right, if it's a certified pre-owned, guys, ask for the certification checklist results for your new car or for your car that's new to you. All right, guys, so if it's a certified car, it means that it went through a process of being reviewed and checked over, and that means that they have a list for what they did to the car, everything they did to it. So if you're getting a certified pre-owned, ask for the certification checklist, and this is going to be just like a Carfax. You're going to want to review this thoroughly. This is something you're going to have to call a dealership for and have them email over. These are not going to be online. All right, guys, so call the dealership. This is going to give you almost more valuable information than the Carfax, honestly, because the Carfax is pretty straightforward. There's a lot of info you can pick through. This is all going to be interesting, right? Hey, listen, they did a headlight replacement. Why did they do a whole headlight replacement? What was that about? Okay, check on this, okay, if you're buying a certified pre-owned. All right, guys, make sure to check when the last service was done on the Carfax, okay, and compare that to your current miles that you're driving on the test drive. Okay, if it's more than 2,500 miles, make sure they'll do the service. So again, something that not everybody looks at on the Carfax, right? When did the last service happen on the Carfax? Okay, and if it says, hey, listen, the last time we did a service was at 72,000 miles, and you're driving it and it's got 75,000 miles or 76,000 miles, that means the service is coming up, right? And you don't know, how it was driven over that course of those miles, over those 2,500 miles. Was it really aggressive? Was it through snow and revving the engine the whole way? Do you want an oil change earlier? Just have them do the service if it's more than 2,500 miles. If it's less than 2,500 miles ago, it's roll the dice on that. But again, you can always ask them to do at least an oil change, and that's something that's super cheap for them to do, and they normally will have no problem to doing an oil change, right? All right, guys, last thing I just want to say is when we're buying a pre-owned car, okay, you got to remember that it might not look new, but safety and how the mechanics are and the overall engine health, that's the goal, right? That's what we're looking for when we look at a pre-owned car, because I can tell you that is where used car lots make their money, right? You take a car that looks gorgeous, but the engine and the mechanics and everything else are just garbage and shot and falling apart. That's how those guys make a living, is shining up something on the outside and making the easiest part to fixed, right? The scratches, the dings, and the dents are the easiest things to fix. Taking care of the mechanics and the engine and the transmission. I will take a car that has, huge scratches and big dents if a known mechanic or a mechanic that I trust goes through it and says, wow, that car was well maintained. That car is ready to go. That engine can drive for at least another 100,000 miles. Okay, I'll take that car over the car that looks like heaven and drives like hell, guys. So this is just a quick pre-owned checklist for you guys, some recommendations. I hope this helps you on your search for a pre-owned car if you are looking for one. And guys, again, this is Matt with How to Buy a Car. Thanks for watching.